what is the worst experience you've had with the contractor? Now, we don't have to use names. We don't have to use businesses. But if you can give me an idea, what's like one of the horror stories, man?
Bro, we could have done a whole segment on this, let me tell you.
Going on? This is Jay English, and I want to welcome you to the next episode of the SoPro Bros podcast. This is episode number 6, and we are talking about contractors. I am happy to introduce the amazing Matthew Hedstrom, and we've got the incomparable Don Taylor. I don't know, I'm dropping big words, man. I'm just trying to fit in and make sure everybody knows how great you two are. But I'm glad to have you guys here. Thank you for letting me be a part of the show this week. Man, I feel like I graduated.
That's right, man. Instead of being behind the scenes, you're not up front, baby.
No,
I've been asking you to do this for a long time, and you just keep
No,
shining.
brother. I feel like every time you ask me, though, it's like 6 minutes before the show started.
That's how we roll. That's
Hey,
how
man.
we do this.
Right. There's no planning.
That's it. Well, you guys, look, I don't want to prolong stuff here on the front side, but this whole conversation around contractors, for someone like me who is on the front end of my journey, and I'm talking to people who have been doing this for well over 20 years, I'm looking forward to just diving in and getting your thoughts, getting your stories. For somebody that might not even know or understand, as a new investor that's getting in, what is a contractor and how do you say you find a good one?
A contractor, man, is anybody with some tools in a truck, right? I mean, that's Chuck in a truck.
Oh, a truck?
Side job
Come on,
Bob,
man.
whatever, whatever name you want to put on it.
I've hired guys out of station wagons, man. Come on. They don't have to have a truck.
I did just hire Chuck out of a minivan, honestly. But you know what? Everybody has different levels and tiers of how they run their business, right? And I'm not going to tell somebody how they need to look or what they need to look at. Matt and I both each have been general contractors for, 25 years each. And just different appearances, different how to run a business, different jobs you go after, different types of work. And I've done everything from, footings and a foundation all the way up to the roof and putting roof cap on and literally everything in between. So it just, over all the years, you kind of decide the things that I think you start off with, what can I do to make money? And you end up with, what do I do to make money that I actually enjoy doing? So that's kind of where that ended at. And here we sit. We're 5 years now, 6 years in to each of us together and 100% real estate versus like going out and finding other jobs or doing a job for Sally next door or John, your buddy down the street. And that now we don't do that. We don't go and contract. We just do our own stuff. I think we got like 10 different houses right now currently that are getting worked on. So that's a part and a piece that we need to find contractors. We can't do all of it ourselves. Matt and I don't strap on tool belts anymore. That phase has left us. And now it's finding, our own guys that we do things in-house. But then because there's more houses than we have guys, but that's a real, issue in today's world is contractors and finding good ones. And, ultimately, I don't care if they drive a rusted up truck or they drive a brand new, 2025, Duramax kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, here's a question for you with finding those contractors. Everybody doesn't have a Gene. And Gene gets mad play on the social media. Anytime I post him, Gene stuff goes viral every time. But how would you recommend finding good contractors?
I think that completely depends on who you're looking for. I like to put divisions like my A contractors, my C contractors. Those are not the same people. And so if you wanted to put a little bit more definition on if I'm looking for more of like a general contractor versus a subcontractor versus a professional contractor, where if we put them into the trades such as a plumber, an electrician, an HVAC technician, those are all guys that are pros that have licenses, operate with different standards, and you're going to get a whole different experience versus if you just need help on a job and you're acting as the contractor yourself or the general. And you need to hire guys to come in and assist you with whatever, hanging doors or tearing up floors. And again, I like to put them into an A or a C category. So the A guys, if we describe everything as kind of a three-legged stool, and you put everything as, okay, price versus time, right? And then also the quality of work. If you have those things, I'll just say right now, you never get all three. Okay. You're never going to get a guy that is super fast, does incredible work, and he's priced super low. Right. And also, on the other hand, you find the guy that's super low price, the quality of work is not going to be there, and the speed is going to be questionable. Sometimes they're fast, sometimes they're slow. So if you're going to hire that A contractor, you're going to be paying a premium for it, but you're going to get excellent work and it's going to get done on time. So where do you find these guys? Man, that is a lifetime of knowledge, right, Don? There's a lot of things that you can do when you're starting out. Like for a guy like you, Jay, if you're looking for a painter, one of the best hacks in the business is go to your professional paint store. We don't buy paint at box stores. We go to professional paint stores. We get better deals because we have sales reps that give us great product and they deliver it to your job site. And you ask them, hey, give me your top 3 guys that can get this small house done. It's 1,200 square feet. I need a solo guy that operates by himself, doesn't show up drunk, and pays his bills on time. Who's the guy that's here at 6 a.m. in the morning? You know, you go to your exterior supply store. Siding, windows, roofing. Who are the guys showing up? Go sit in your truck at 6 a.m. at the supply store and follow the guys that are coming in out of their trucks. They're usually unmarked because they don't need to advertise. They got a lot of great work that they always have. They don't need to advertise. And go and ask the guy for his card. Tell him about your job, how many jobs you have going. If a guy hears you got 10 jobs going on, like Don just said, that guy's going to be interested right away. So those are just a couple of quick hacks that, you know, to find guys. But honestly, I'll end it with this. Man, your network is your net worth. We always kind of throw that line out when we're teaching this stuff. You have guys already in your circle that those are the guys you want to ask right away. You're going to come to us, Jay, and say, hey, man, you know, I need a really good flooring guy. And Don right now, 2 names just popped into his head that he's going to give you. I already know what those names are. He's going to give you those names and say, hey, tell him Don sent you. Okay. And that's going to be your best contact that you can make right there looking for a flooring contract.
Hey, love it. Now, you've given us some great insight on finding good people. You're going to have me sitting outside my paint store up the street about 5:45 a.m. just with my notepad and my camera ready.
Yep.
What are some red flags, though? What are some things that when they do pull up, you know, when Bob in the van pulls up and he steps out, what are some things that you look at and you're just like, no, this is not going to work? Because you guys have been doing this a long time. What are things that you know that are tricks of the trade that I wouldn't, that you're like, please don't hire that guy because he's about to take you for everything you got and give you none of the work?
Yeah, that's a struggle that sometimes you don't know until you're in it, right? But typically I'll have guys come, I'll schedule the contractors to come early in the morning. I mean, when I say early, I'm talking like 7, 8 o'clock to meet me at the job site to look at the work. If they show up and they reek hungover from the night before, that's a red flag for me. If they're late getting there, that's a red flag for me. If they can't get me a proposal within a reasonable period of time, that's a red flag for me. And then I also ask them what they have going for work, like who referral wise, like, hey, so who are some of the guys you do work for? What are some of the things that you've been working on? Show me some pictures of some of the projects that you're, you know, proud of that you've done. If they can't pull that stuff up, I know that they're starting off, or maybe they're not who they say they are. If guys come and say, I need to get paid the moment that they're packing up their last tool, again, that's another red flag. We might have gotten through that job, but I'm going to question moving forward. Well, what are they doing and how are they doing it outside of my job site that they need to get paid instantly right now, this second? So those are just things that we look for.
Got you. You know, has there ever been something where you've seen a mistake that you feel you've made in bringing someone in, you know, maybe something you missed or you wish you had done differently?
Yeah, here's the deal. In Wisconsin, we have an incredible circuit court access system that is free, available to all, easy to use. And I'll tell you what, I could have saved myself tens of thousands of dollars and many hours and a lot of bad situations if I would have just put their name into CCAPs. And that's it. That's all it takes. One quick little, do a name search, see what pulls up. I would have seen the felonies. I would have seen the charges from other people suing them. I would have seen the gambling problems and the jail time and all of that. And it would have saved me a world of trouble if I would have just done a little bit of homework on the front end on just looking them up, man, because that's public record.
And that's not to say that we're not willing to give people a shot. You know,
Absolutely.
if you look someone up and they got, you know, they got that one, maybe two strikes on them. And again, depending upon what that is, that's not to say that we're not going to try somebody or do that. Matt and I both have big hearts when it comes to people, and we want to believe the best in people. But right, if you get on and you see a guy that is on his, you know, fifth OWI and, you know, domestic abuse and a lot of different things, whatever it can be, right? Sometimes you just need to use maybe a little bit of discernment of, all right, like, I wish this guy well. I hope he's cleaned up his act. You know, we don't ever just shut the door, slam the door on somebody, but
Be wary of the guy that has 17 separate charges in the last 8 months. I got you.
Yeah. And again, and people can change, and we hope that, and we want that, and we want restoration of people in those things, but we got to also protect us and our interests and, you know, our houses that we're doing and everything.
Contractors are the bane of our existence, man. Finding good guys and keeping them, like, this is what breaks you or makes you. Okay. Our work is as good as what these guys are doing. Okay. So, and the life itself, because Don and I live this, the life is hard. And it creates problems. It creates hardships. So these guys are already coming to the table with hardships. I mean, like Don was alluding to, we're investing in people when we take them on. And it's not like they're projects, but they become part of your success too. So we want to help where we can. So we become part of their lives as well as they become part of ours.
Yeah.
It's an
I think,
ongoing
Jay,
relation.
you asked before about like Gene. Obviously, Gene's our rock star, right? Gene's been with me for over 16 years now. And I think that has taught me, though, too. I mean, Gene came with, you know, massive skill sets, obviously. But then throughout the years, you know, he's learned things. I've taught him things. He's learned it from other people. But I think to find more Genes out there in the world, it's more about finding the right person, not necessarily the right skill set. Skills can be taught. We can teach someone how to install flooring. We can teach someone how to set cabinets. We can teach somebody how to paint, right? You know, those are all things that are easily, you know, moved into. But what you can't develop in a person is, you know, trustworthiness and integrity, and, you know, somebody who cares just as we care for them and their families and providing, they also care for us and our families and producing, you know, a good product in a timely fashion that, again, wins for everybody. So it's mindsets and its character is truly who we look for, because again, the skills are easy. Those can come afterwards. And the guys that we have working with us full time, all the time, they are men of integrity and character that we just teach them what we need them to know.
Hey, I love it. Now, here's another question for you two. How do you go about setting clear expectations for those that you're bringing in to make sure that you get what it is you want? You know, I've been around you all. You have some very high standards for what you see as this is a house that has SoPro's name on it. I've literally heard you say that. This is a SoPro house. It has to meet certain standards. There are certain things that we don't allow. I've literally watched Don run his fingers down grout in tile and say, hey, these lines aren't straight. This is not how we do stuff. This has to be redone. How do you set those expectations for contractors coming in?
So Gene is our kind of our standpoint, you know, and we put guys with him and he gives us feedback. Then again, Gene cares very much for us and our families because he knows we do for him. So it's in his interest to find the right people, and he's getting older. So he wants to find and develop ultimately his replacement or replacements. But he's a kind of that first litmus test, but ultimately it's sometimes letting them screw up. And then I come in, and a perfect example, grout lines, cabinet hardware being not straight, and make them pay for that. I mean, they have to take it off. They got to redo it. They need to pay for a new cabinet door, whatever it is, because when they see those pain points and they realize Don and Matt come in and they're really picky. Now, the crazy thing is I am picky, but Matt will come in and give a completely different punch list if he's here than what I give. And we are both focused on different things. My background, you know, a lot of times is in flooring and Finishes is where Matt comes, a lot with cabinetry and countertops and that kind of thing. So those are all parts and pieces that each of us bring our own, quirks with. But absolutely, we demand perfection, and guys will even text us a picture or a question. This literally just happened on a job, and they opened up a wall for electrical because a light, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. Well, somebody spliced wires inside of a wall. It wasn't in a junction box, and they sent me the picture like, hey, what do you want me to do with this? And I'm like, why are you even asking me this? You rip it out, you replace it, you run a new, a full new line. He's like, Don, but that's going to be a massive amount of work and a lot of holes and that need to be patched. And I mean, we're almost ready to deliver this house. I'm like, it doesn't matter. We're not going to, expose something that we see as wrong and then leave it. This shouldn't have even been a question out of you, but now that you know this, like, don't ask stupid questions like that again. And yes, I do believe there are stupid questions in life, and sometimes I get them. So that was a stupid question. Like, don't leave crap. That is not right. And don't try to get away with installing things that aren't straight or plumb or level. They need to look good, and it needs to be done the right way. So absolutely, neither one of us, Matt or I, apologize for expecting perfection when it comes. The hard part is when we, because we list houses too. And some of the realtors will look at me like, well, this isn't a SoPro quality house. It's because it wasn't our flip. It was another investor.
Yeah.
If it's ours, it's ours. But we list houses for a lot of other people, and they aren't up to our standards by any means. But the people that know us, that know what we put out, when our inspections come back, it is not anywhere near what other people get on their houses. I mean, we get like 0 inspection items that come back on a house. Is where others, we're dealing with a house that we bought that other people had flipped, and the inspection list is long, and now it's kind of becoming a problem because we have to now go in and fix the issues from other people and other flippers in this case. But unfortunately, it's a good problem to have, and we expect perfection.
Yeah. Matt, he talked a little bit about, how you come in and have a separate punch list. How do you go about setting those expectations for what you would look for from your contractors?
Let's just put it this way in the beginning, that we all know what it's supposed to look like when it's done, right? Like, there are things you walk in and visibly see and just go, okay, come on. We all know what the problem is. It's poking me in the eye right now, right? We're not the guys that are going to use an entire roll of blue tape and mark every single little pock on the wall or, any kind of marks. Like, that's not how we operate, because we set those expectations in the beginning that, hey, look, we can kind of put contracts into the mix here right now. When you're developing a scope of work for a contractor, Don and I are not going to sit down and itemize and write out every single thing to create a list of 1,000 itemizations on what is expected. It really comes down to, yes, here's a scope of work that's expected of you. And really, when you leave this house, it needs to be in broom swept condition in the way that it would go onto the market as a completely finished house, showroom ready. Okay. That is the expectation. So I don't have to define in the contract that there shouldn't be any scratches in the floor, right? Because there shouldn't be any scratches. That's not showroom ready. So you're not going to leave a scratch in the floor because that's not how you would move into this house with your own family. So that kind of begins to define in the beginning what our expectations are, and they'll learn real quick as we walk through a house. Now, let's be honest. When a buyer comes through a house, they won't see 90% of what Don and I have already corrected or seen. Most don't. They see the house as a whole. They want to see their kids sitting at the dining room table. They're not looking at the corner, the miter of the door trim and going, wait a second, there's a little gap here that needs to be filled, or that should have gotten tighter. We're already setting standards far above what others are going to see. And that's learned as you relate to your contractors and they relate to you. So that doesn't need to really be put in writing. Those things are just going to be assumed and they'll be told, because they don't get paid until those things are corrected. And so they'll get to know you very quickly and how you operate.
Love that. Now, as we're coming down to the end of the show, I got to ask this question. What is the worst experience you've had with the contractor? Now, we don't have to use names. We don't have to use businesses. But if you can give me an idea, what's like one of the horror stories, man?
Bro, we could have done a whole segment on this. Let me tell you, I would guess probably 17 so years ago, I had a guy who claimed to be a drywaller, and
Claim
I
to be a
claimed to be a drywaller, and I had the homeowner call me crying, and this was like at a 6 o'clock in the evening kind of thing, because he was there working, and she's like, Don, I just don't think this is right. Like the tape is bubbled all over the place, and this and that. And I'm like, okay. And I knew these people, and I drove down, and it's, at this point it's like 7 o'clock at night, and I get there. And this place was a disaster. This guy had to have been, somebody who has never done drywall before. He might have hung it, but he had never taped and finished. And I literally went through and started ripping off all the tape in the house that was defect and had problems, and I ripped it off. He got so mad at me, and we were face to face in this lady's living room, ready to go fisticuffs. And it was quite interesting. What ended up happening was I paid the guy 100% in full, and I just told him, don't worry about it. I'll take care of this. I'll finish it up. And he never came back, and I never called him again. And he walked out of there. I literally pulled money out of my pocket and paid him right there in person in cash, and made the problem go away. So that was my worst, just because it was like ready to like literally get in a fight. There's a lot of other bad ones, but not to a point of actually fighting.
I got, the worst situation, I'll say it this way, because unfortunately, the longer you deal with contractors, and it's been a long time. I think we got to quit saying 25 years. We've been saying that for about 6 years. So it's now over 30 years as licensed.
I'm not that old, so no, I'm still sticking with it.
Whatever, dude. General contractors our whole lives in multiple states licensed. And now internationally.
That's right.
We can talk. I already have stories from international, but man, I had a guy that I didn't vet well enough, and we had already done a few houses, and this was at a time in my life where I was hiring GCs. Instead of me being the GC, I was kind of evolving in my business, and so I would hire a guy to turnkey the whole house, and we had already done a few, and they went really well. So here I gave him the whole check for the whole house right up front. And I'll just put it this way. I won't describe how many months later. I actually had a private money lender drive by and leave me a message. Hey man, there's nothing done to this house. Like, I was not staying on top of my game because I was doing a lot. And this guy took the whole thing. When I called him on it, he answered his phone every time. He was not ashamed to answer that. He wasn't trying to dodge me. He had a story every time. And basically he told me, yeah, man, I had some things to catch up on some other jobs. So I spent the money on these other jobs first, but don't worry, when my next check comes in, I'll take care of your house. And I think it was less than 30 days later, he was sitting in jail. This was after he fled to Texas, I think. And we were in extradition state. So he was gone, and he was collected and brought back. And I went through a full, sued him, won court case. That you don't ever want that to happen. And that has all kinds of other stories about giving contractors all the money up front. But I will add one short one. This is kind of fun. You talk about red flags. I had a guy once, he showed up to do a roof for me. Oh yeah, man, I do roofs. No problem. I do roofs. So he shows up. His girlfriend is on the ladder that they just bought. Okay. It barely reached the gutter that they were crawling. He was hauling up, Don, the Porter Cable red pancake compressors. He was hauling the compressor up because their hose wasn't long enough to basically use their brand new nail gun with this pancake compressor with his girlfriend on this ladder that barely touched the gutter. So that was an immediate, you guys get off this property right now. We're done. I already know what happens. Somebody falls and dies. There's drugs involved, and I'm the one who's liable. And ultimately, the homeowner is liable. So, see ya.
So you had like the Ponzi scheme running contractor.
Which is why you never pay contractors up front. I've been blessed to never fall victim to that.
I mean, the fact that he was honest about it, like, hey, I just want you to know the money you gave me, I absolutely used it. Not on your job, I used it to finish that house. But when they pay me, don't worry, I'll come back.
I had a guy tell me he had a gambling problem. That's where I was like, Great. Here we go. I know where this ends up.
Man, you just got one of them faces, man. People just want to be honest with you.
Matt's just looking for the cheapest guy. That's what he's always looking for.
Hey,
Yep.
well, you guys, this has been great. I want to give you, each of you, if you take like 30 seconds, what would be just a word of advice you'd give to an investor that's getting involved with contractors before we close?
If you have to or if you want to, just make sure you know who you have working for you and do not give them money up front. Here's the thing, 20 plus years of contracting, and I barely ever even took a down payment. It was always draws and done upon a certain level of completion. And those expectations were always spelled out beforehand. So don't ever give anyone money. Not at all. If they tell you they need money to go buy materials, you go to the store and buy the materials and deliver them to the houses as needed, but don't give people money. Straight up. That's how too many people lose and get stuck in positions like Matt. So keep out of those positions.
Learn from Matt's example.
Learn from I got a playbook, man. No, it is. Man, if you're using that general rule as pay for what was completed, you'll never go wrong. If you only pay for the work that was done, you'll never go wrong. But I would say, just to add for my quick blush here, is, man, align yourself with guys who share core values that you've established for your own business and even for yourself, because you're already going to be winning on the front end, knowing that these guys are aligned with your own core values and that you're willing to get in the ring. It's inevitable. You're going to end up in conflict with contractors. It will happen. And so Don and I play good cop, bad cop interchangeably really, really well, but you will be involved in conflict. And as long as that base is there and those core values align and match, you will find resolution in these jobs. So start with those expectations that are set well on both sides, and you will both end up winning in the end.
Hey, I appreciate you both. Again, this is the SoPro Bros podcast. This is episode 6 about contractors, where to find them, what not to do, who not to hire.
Hey,
but
listen, I'll give you one more story in the end. I found a guy when I hired and when I was North Minneapolis. I couldn't understand for the life of me why he always came out of the outhouse, the biffy. So he was dancing, man. He was so happy coming out of that outhouse till I found out, he was hitting the pipe, man. Every time he hit the outhouse, man. The
came out feeling good.
Oh yeah, came out feeling good, man. But I'll tell you what, that guy, this is all I used him for, all right? I would have him go in, you don't touch tools, you just do what I say. You take that sheet of drywall and you hold it. And he was so tall, he could just hold it, no ladders, no benches. He'd just hold the drywall on the ceiling while I screwed it off. So it worked. He was happy doing it every time he went to the biffy, of course.
Matt just admitted that he's always just screwing around. And and just to clarify, Matt's background also is he was a drywall hanger for many years. He ran a drywall hanging company in Minnesota.
If you can't put down a pint in an afternoon, you are not a drywaller.
You know what? This show is going off the rails, man. These are normal conversations too. That's the funny part. This is actually how the conversations go. We did so well for 30 minutes, man. Then we just went left.
You can edit this out. It'll be all right.
Hey, well, everybody, we're so thankful for you. Continue to tune in to the SoPro Bros podcast, wherever you listen to those. Also, if you're interested in investing, if you are a lender and you are looking to put your money to work, feel free to reach out. If you have a home that you need to sell quickly for cash, sellfastwithus.com is the place to go. If you want to sell your home and list it, we got the SoPro Realty team that's ready to rock as well. So if you need it, we got it. We love you. We thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode. All right, fellas, it's been great.
Thanks, guys.